Oh my God. Look at his balls. They are so big. He must be one of those gamer guys. Like, who understands them anyway?
I say, what? Balls! Who's got the balls? I got the balls. Big, big, big balls. Who's got the balls? I got the balls. The big, big, big balls. The balls. Who got the balls? I got the balls. The big, big, big balls. Balls. Who got the balls? I got the balls. The big, big, big balls. Balls. Who's got them balls? I got them balls. Big, big balls. Who's got them balls? I got them balls. Big balls. Balls. Big, big balls.
Well, let me just introduce it to my balls here, okay? The right one's Chuck, and the left one's Norris.
This song is all about my balls. 'Cause they big, the opposite of smalls. I see my balls be bouncing left and right. My balls be owning you tonight.
Who got the balls? I got
I
the
got
balls.
the balls, big balls.
Who got the balls? I
I
got the
got the
balls.
balls, big balls.
Who
Balls.
got them balls? I got them balls.
Big, big, big balls.
Who's got them balls?
I got the balls, big, big, big balls. Balls. Big motherfucking balls.
Let me just tell you a quick story about my balls, okay? They're big, they're round, and they're big.
Big, big balls. Balls.
My balls need some sucking. My balls need licking. My balls be swinging. My balls need some sucking. My balls need licking. My balls be swinging, swinging. Balls be swinging. My balls need legend, no imitation. My balls need two wheelbarrows for transportation.
Balls.
My balls need jive. My balls be enormous. My balls waving in the air. My balls like they just don't care. Elephants be all like, damn, them Geeks balls. My balls be huge. My balls be Angus. My balls.
Balls.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD. As you can see, the leader of the Frog Gang is here solo. We had Hammock Man's over in the UK. He's visiting the Blarney Stone. This intro song is shit. No, it's not. It's one of the greatest songs ever of all time. 56K. We got our man, the right hand of the frog himself, Blinded Braille. He's out watching John Wick 4. Finbar is chilling in the chat. And everyone else, who knows where they're at. But we got a lot of things to talk about. We're going to be discussing Jonathan Majors again. New evidence has surfaced, which I don't think paints the picture that Jonathan Majors wants us to think it paints. We're going to talk spoilers for the upcoming Flash movie because Ben Affleck's he was running his mouth about a couple of scenes, and we know a little bit more about the movie. The BBC says that superheroes, that's the end of it. No more. This is the end of the line for superhero films. Meanwhile, the Telegraph is letting us know that Adam Sandler may be the greatest actor of his generation. High praise, high praise. He's not in the UK? Isn't he in Ireland? That's not the UK no more? It's what it is. We're going to talk about Robert Downey Jr.'s chewing gum. It's going on sale, and you could buy it if you have deep pockets. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's going to have a anime adaptation. I hate that movie, but we're going to talk about it. Of course, we're going to talk about the Mike Flanagan pitched Clayface movie, as well as Jennifer Aniston letting us know that a bunch of soft babies think that Friends is very offensive. It's very offensive. Ireland was never UK. Oh, it's all the same. It's all the same. You know? Denzel Freeman. No, Adam Sandler. Number one. Logical Raptor, don't worry about it. There's no issues. You know, you could watch my streams. You could watch other people's streams. I don't care what you guys do. You're just viewers. I appreciate when you guys are here, but like I said, if you want to watch other people, you enjoy what the content is, it's no problem with me. I don't have to be friends of friends. You know what I'm saying? We can be cool, and you can be cool with others that I'm not cool with. I don't mind. What else we got going? Well, I'm not into beef. Yeah, I'm not into beef either. Like I said, I said my piece last night. For those of you who might not know what Logical's bringing up, there was an issue. I clarified my stance on the issue, and that's the end of that, and we're moving forward. Yeah, exactly. If you ain't paying for my internet, for me to internet things, don't tell me what to do. Sounds about right. I just want to talk on certain things. Yeah. I understand. Totally understandable. Like I said, I'm sure I go to places that some of you guys don't like. I go to places that I know some of my co-hosts don't like. I was just on Justin Proper's channel earlier. I'm going to be on Nerdette's channel tomorrow. So, we all do what we do, and then when we come together here, we do what we do here. It's all good. All right, so we got to talk Jonathan Majors first, because this is breaking news. Apparently, the lawyer has shared some text messages from Jonathan Majors' girlfriend, and we're going to go over them. We're going to see what they say. And as I said at the top of the show, I don't think this paints the picture that Jonathan Majors wants us. All right, so these are supposedly text messages sent to Jonathan Majors from his girlfriend. As you can see, it says, "Please let me know if you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me, and they knew we had a fight. I'm so angry that they did, and I'm so sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out. I love you." Now, that's the first set of messages. And again, this is supposed to read like, "Oh, Jonathan Majors didn't do nothing. See, she's recanting. She's recanting it. This proves she didn't do nothing." Actually, this proves, at least in my mind, in my eyes, the way I'm reading this proves that she's scared of Jonathan Majors, right? This doesn't read as, "Hey, nothing happened," or "These people made a mistake. I don't understand why they're arresting you." This reads like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that they're arresting you because now I know you're going to be even more angry, and I've hurt you and ruined your career, and now you're going to come home and take it out on me." She's blaming herself. "I told them it was my fault." I don't know if you're aware of this, but trying to grab somebody's phone, that's not ground for them to strangle you, slap you, put their hands on you in a physical manner. This is totally not Disney PR spin. Yeah, exactly. Start over? No, Bianca, we can't. We've gone too far. Gone too far to start over. So this first set of text messages, it reads exactly like a battered wife, a girlfriend that is used to being abused. Now you'll notice there's no response in between this. So 3.5 hours go by, no response from Jonathan Majors. It says, they just called again to check on me, and I reiterated how this was not an attack, and they do not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation, and I said point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She ensured this to me. I know you have the best team, and there's nothing to worry about. I just want you to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. I also said to tell the judge to know that the origin of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out, and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior. Out of care, she promised all will be relayed. Okay, so why did she collapse and pass out? She's saying in the first message there's no strangulation, guys, no strangulation, but apparently she just passed out. She's blaming herself. Yeah, she's blaming herself, and she's also denying that she was strangled, but also she mysteriously passed out. And as you can tell, the first text message has spaces. Everything's clear. The second one is just one jumbled mess. It seems very erratic. It seems like this is a message they told her. This is almost like a lawyer statement, right? If you read the second one, it's almost like a prepared. They just called to check again. And I reiterated how this was not an attack. This does not read how normal people talk, right? These two messages are almost like they're from different people. It's almost like the lawyer got a hold of her phone and sent the second message. Especially since, she puts I love you at the end of the first message. Doesn't throw in no I love yous. No, hey, babe, how you doing? None of that. I haven't heard from you. It's been 3 hours. Why haven't you called or checked in? Did you get my prior message? None of that. It's just weird that it just goes in and immediately exonerates him completely, right? It's just like a text message that completely exonerates him and says none of it was his fault, but also tells you that she apparently collapsed and passed out, and that's why Jonathan Majors called the police. So Jonathan Majors 100% might have called the police, but if you strangle a woman and then she passes out, that's probably the reason why you would call the police, right? All text, no emoji. That's how my relationship starts. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a missing. There's totally either a missing message, or like I said, this second one is one that he sent to himself or something. So I'm not buying this. This to me, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like authentic. It doesn't feel like a real conversation that two people would have had, especially since, like I said, there's no response from Jonathan Majors. There's no explanation for why she passed out again. Apparently, she just collapses and passes out, right? Like, where she says the wording is really weird. As my partner, due to our communication prior, no one says that. You would be like, with me collapsing and passing out because you choked the shit out of me, or because of our prior fight, right? Our communication prior, out of care. Something feels off. This is definitely Disney spin. This is definitely something ain't right. And like I said, the police came, right? The police came. They looked at her. They sent her to the hospital. They arrested Jonathan Majors. He's been charged. Just because she's saying in a text message to the person that supposedly attacked her that, hey, baby, I told him you didn't hit me. That doesn't really clear him. Even if she did write both of those messages, that doesn't clear him of anything. Her complete venom burn is missing, where she breaks down the issues with. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Like, this seems so weird for a text message where they had a fight. Like, she just completely forgot about the fact that he was possibly texting some other woman. Especially, like, you're going to send these three. You're going to be like, here's the 3 text messages, right? No text message before that, no text message after that, nothing, like I said, from Jonathan Majors. It's just weird. It seems very selective, right? There you go. Here's these 3. And again, that's not a recanting. Me sending you a text message is not a recanting. she has to sign a signed affidavit to be, actual recanting. So I'm not buying it. I'm not buying what they're selling. All right, moving on. It might be a quick show tonight. I don't have a lot of people to bounce things off of, so it's going to be me reading and talking, and then just kind of moving on. PR Photoshop, yeah. I don't think it's that far, but like I said, I wouldn't put it past if sometime between the "I love you" and that new message, that either a lawyer got their hands on the phone, they're like, "Hey, give your phone to the lawyer. The lawyer's going to write a message and send it." So I would like to. I don't think there was a time, or not a time, a date, because there was a time. Obviously, it was like 6:30 p.m. and then 9 p.m. I'd love to know the date on that, and I'd love to know where Jonathan Majors was. Right? Tony just said the chat ain't shit. That's not what I said. I said there's no one for me to talk to here. There's no one for me to go, "Hey, Blinded, give me your 10-minute spiel." Right? It's just me. So you get my 10-minute spiel, a little bit of back and forth with you guys, and then we kind of move on to the next topic. Chat lives matter. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is, as far as these messages, very weird. I would like to know where Jonathan Majors was, where his lawyer was at the time of these messages being sent, why he didn't reply to the first message, what, if anything, he replied to the second message. Yeah, smells fishy. Smells fishy. Hey, what's up, Arkham? All right, moving on. This is more happy news. If you don't want to be spoiled for The Flash, maybe take a 15 to 20-minute break from the stream. But Ben Affleck accidentally spoils major Gal Gadot Flash movie details. Excuse me. It says, while speaking on a podcast, Batman star Ben Affleck, he's not a Batman star, right? He didn't star in Batman. It should really be, while speaking on a podcast, Batman actor, right? Or Ben Affleck, who played Batman, spoiled some key new details about an upcoming scene in The Flash that involved Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Gadot had been having an interesting time as of late in DCEU. For one, Wonder Woman 3 was canned by Warner Brothers in late 2022, leaving the ultimate fate of the character and the actress playing her unknown. Despite that, however, she cameoed in Zachary Levi's Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and according to Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddie Freeman in the recently released film, she could also be showing up in Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. Before, possibly, joining Jason Momoa, everything points to Wonder Woman appearing alongside Ezra Miller and Affleck in The Flash. Well, I mean, Ben Affleck basically says that she's in it, so it's not like there's not all signs. It's Ben Affleck saying she's in the movie. Wasn't he BVS, Batman and BVS, considered a star? Because no, but it says Batman star as if Batman is a movie, right? Like, hey, what's up, Justin?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing good. We just talked a little bit about Jonathan Majors, and there was some text messages that the lawyer shared from the girlfriend that I think kind of paints him in a bad picture, but he says it clears him of all charges. I don't know if you want me to bring that up and give an opinion on that, or just move on.
This is why I didn't want to bring it up on my show, because I have no idea what the fuck this is all about. I just know that his army commercials were being withdrawn because he'd like hit a woman or something. I don't know what happened. Like, I have no clue. So
what happened was, we'll go back just for you. What happened was basically they were in a cab and she saw him texting on his phone. She accused him of texting another woman. What's up, George? She accused him of texting another woman. They got into an argument.
That's not George, right? Like, just the other woman is not George.
No, the other woman's not George.
I just love how you're like texting another woman. Hi, George. Just thought the timing was so great.
So anyway, they got into an argument, and then apparently they got into a little scuffle in the cab. Went home to where I guess they lived together. It's not clear. At some point, then Jonathan Majors called the police. The police came, saw that she had lacerations on her neck and stuff, sent her to the hospital. She got checked out. They arrested Majors and charged him with basically beating up his girlfriend. And so, like I said, we had text messages that were shared from the lawyer, and I think that they don't really paint it in the best light. Have you seen these, George?
I looked at some of them.
Well, these are the ones that they claim clear them. And I'll read it again since you guys just popped in. It says, please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. I'm so angry that they did, and I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out. I love you. And that was at 6 o'clock. Then 3.5 hours later, she sends this other message. As you can see, the first message is nice, has spaces, it's paragraphed out, right? This next one is all just big one block of text. They just called again to check on me, and I reiterated how this was not an attack, and they do not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation, and I said point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She assured this to me. I know you have the best team and there's nothing to worry about. I just want you to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. I also said to tell the judge to know that the origin of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior. Out of care, she promised all will be relayed. Does that sound like a woman recanting, or, as I read it, a woman who's scared that Jonathan Majors is going to come home and whoop the shit out of her even more?
Well, first of all, the first text box, like you said, is all spaced out, and then like the next one's just like all bunched up together.
Yeah, and she says that apparently she collapsed, right, passing out and collapsing, but she doesn't. I guess because Jonathan Majors would know why, but right, as far as we're concerned, we have no idea. Like, she just collapsed. He was accused of strangling her, and usually when you strangle someone, you know, they have a tendency to lose consciousness and pass out and collapse. So
this whole situation is just so weird. Like,
Wait.
what? Like, I mean, what happened? Did she like collapse and like he held her by the neck or something? Like,
well, she's saying that she was never strangled in that second message, which is a weird thing to like, because apparently they either called or there's just a 3.5 hour gap that we don't know what happened. But he would know that, right? It almost reads like this is a message that you send because you want other people to read it, not the person that's involved, right?
yeah, but like the other side of the story that I heard was like he called 911 on her, but like they made it seem like he was calling the police on her. But now all of a sudden, apparently, like she had like some kind, like something happened to her where she like collapsed. Like I'm so confused now.
Was she coached into saying what she said on that last blob of text?
That's what it looks like to me. Like I said, because you had "I love you" after the first text. There's no "I love yous." There's no sentimentality in the second one. No, we're gonna get through this, baby. Don't worry. It's like you have the best team. Don't worry, nothing's gonna happen to you. You didn't strangle me. I just collapsed mysteriously.
Like because this first thing of text like clearly indicates that some kind of altercation happened. And like she's trying to take responsibility for it, but then the second one, she's saying something completely different happened.
Yeah. You're
No
not wrong
space.
about that.
He says no space is post-fist clarity. Yeah, I think the second message is either coached or, as I assume or believe, that perhaps either the lawyer or Jonathan Majors himself got a hold of her phone and sent it. You didn't choke a bitch, honest. Yeah. So I really think, in my opinion, reading this, that this is a battered woman, a girlfriend that's used to being slapped around and then having to apologize. It's not your fault you hit me. I shouldn't have tried to take your phone because you were cheating on me. I should have just accepted it because you're the big star.
But that's the thing. Why did she why was this phone like a big deal in this fight to begin with?
The assumption is that he was texting some other woman.
Oh my goodness.
Like I said, it is a weird situation, and because she's not on social media, right? That's the weirdest thing. Because you would think if this was like people were saying, oh, she's just trying to get money out of him or whatever, right? She never went to social media with any of this. She went to the police, or the police went to her, apparently, right?
Yeah.
2, after it all happened, you would think, okay, so if there was a reasonable explanation for all this, you would think she would have been out there, press conference, like, hey, I'm the girlfriend, and this is not what happened. Here's the situation. The police misconstrued it. They didn't listen to what I was telling them. They just assumed because he's a black man that they arrested him and stuff. So you would think that she would be out there and more in front of it if it didn't happen. So it's kind of weird that she's sending this kind of text message, but again, no social media presence, no statement publicly, no TMZ appearance, no news appearance, right?
Yeah. This whole thing, like, it just feels like it's getting weirder and weirder. Because like different information's starting to come out now, and it feel like these text messages are very conflicting.
Yeah, I agree. Mind games that play 56 cases. Second text is a heads up for him or paper trail for her lawyers. Maybe.
I mean, the first one, which I think is probably the more accurate one, sounds like one of those things where like where they're trying to say like, I know you're a good person, even though like we just had an altercation.
Yeah, even though you slapped me around, I know you love me. You did it because you care. You Super J says, I'm going to swing my arms like this, and if you get in my way, it's your fault. Yeah, that's what happened. He was just like, I'm just going to reel back my arm and push it forward. And if your face happens to be in that spot, I don't know. Sounds weird. I think he's done. I think that's going to be it for Jonathan Majors. But back to Gal Gadot. So apparently Ben Affleck spoiled the fact that she's in The Flash. Have you heard about this?
I wouldn't say spoil it. I mean, like there were rumors that like she was gonna be in it. I know like the supposed leaks from last year were saying she was gonna be in it. So I wouldn't really count this as a spoiler, more like an official confirmation.
Yeah, that's fair. So Ben Affleck says, I finally figured out how to play the guy. I was like, hold on. Is that I quit? I know I quit, and I know I came back, but I got it now. It's like, when you do the audition and you're on your way home, you're like, ooh. I mean, I don't want to give a spoiler, but it was a scene where I get caught. I get saved by Wonder Woman during a conflagration with some bad guys, and she saves me I'm sure the spoiler DC assassins are going to get me, but she saves me with the lasso of truth. And so what happens is that Batman divulges some of his real feelings about his work in his life. And I was like, wait a minute, I got it. That sounds like a really stupid scene. Is that how the lasso works? Like it just automatically makes you just spill your guts?
I mean, like it's the lasso of truth. Like you tell the truth.
Yeah, but I thought they got to ask you a question. Like it's like they lasso you and then like, hey, did you steal something?
Well, like the way like Justice League 2017 framed it, because there was that scene with like Aquaman kind of sitting on it, and he was like kind of spilling out his heart and soul.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So like I guess like they're kind of using the logic from the 2017 film.
It is in the same universe, though.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting, I guess. We'll hear him talk about how he killed Robin and how Wonder Woman looks hot Because that's what would happen if if I get thrown the lasso of truth and she's like, "Hi, I caught you." I'm like, "Damn, you're fucking hot. I just want to bang you, Wonder Woman." She's like, "What? What'd you say? You heard me. I just want to fucking grab you," and then be like, "Whoa, take the lasso off, Tony. We don't need to hear his truth." It's a PG-13 movie. It might not be the Snyder Wonder Woman. Might be another Wonder Woman. I hope not. Just it's Gal Gadot. She's playing the Snyder Wonder Woman. Can we just or the
Yeah.
Whedon Wonder Woman, right?
The
Whichever.
DCEU Wonder Woman. I don't even call it like Snyder. I call it like DCEU.
Well, it's not even the DCEU. It's going to be the DCU Wonder Woman, like the previous one, or no, the EU is the previous, right? Yeah.
But I see like the Funko, like the article made a good point. Like it was already confirmed with like the Funko Pop figure leak that like Gal's going to be in it.
Yeah, I didn't see those leaks. I try not to pay attention to leaks. Yeah, some Snyder Justice League members would have to be in it. Yeah. There's speculation that Aquaman's also going to be in the movie. So this should be interesting. I wonder what it is that he divulges. What do you think that Batman gives up when he gets lassoed?
Probably like it's probably like say like his history of Batman, or like maybe like some of his like regrets, or like some of the choices he made.
Oh God, I hope not. Not because it wouldn't be a good scene. Like it would be 100% great scene if he's like, "Oh my God, you can't believe Robin died," and he like starts going into these things. But the fact of the matter is, whatever he divulges in that area, people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, we could have got a Batman movie where the Joker killed Robin and Batman tried to get revenge, or we could have got a Clayface because he admits that he fought Clayface or something, right?"
Yeah, no, because like all you're basically doing is like gonna rile fans up that were like, "We look what we could have gotten," or like, "Look what we missed out on." WB.
Yeah, I wonder if Zack Snyder told him to say that. That's what Zack was planning. That's what it was. Fucking WB stole it from us. So yeah, I hope it's just like some banal, like, "Oh my God, I don't really want to be Batman," or "I really love being Batman and I hate Bruce Wayne." Batman would admit that he ain't shit compared to Superman, and the Batmobile is just overcompensation. Yeah.
Well,
So
they'll probably say something like like that he still will, that he'll never get over the death of his parents or something like that.
Yeah. Batman's weird because according to science, how science works, the more you remember a thing, the worse you actually remember it. It starts to change. Like your brain interprets the thing and it starts adding details and adding things. So since Batman's always thinking about his parents' death, it's basically so far gone from what actually happened by the time Batman's like beating people up.
I mean, like I think it's been established that this version of Batman's like in his like mid to late 40s, and considering like his parents got shot when he was 8, it's like been like around like 40 years of this being in his mind. So it probably made like the more he thinks about it as each year goes by, it probably gets worse for him.
It'll be interesting. I don't really want to watch The Flash. I'm still not sold on it, right? But I am curious, morbidly curious. What about you, George?
Oh, I'm still gonna go see the Flash. But again, like I'm very curious to see like how they bring back like Michael Keaton's like Batman, like how they reintroduce him, especially for like the younger audiences that aren't as familiar with him.
Well, I think, and again, I don't have any inside knowledge, right? But from my understanding, it's just going to be Barry's going to go looking for Batman, and it's just going to be a different Batman. Like he's going to end up like, "Oh shit, this is Bruce in this universe," right? Like,
Probably something along those lines.
Like I'm sure they showed pictures of or like scene of him in the Batcave where it looks like it's all like, I don't want to say broken down, but like like all closed down, like he's done being Batman. So I could see him running to the Batcave looking for Batman, thinking he's gonna get Ben Affleck, and it's actually Michael Keaton. And then Michael Keaton shows up like, "What are you doing down here?" "I'm Batman."
But no, I'm excited for it. Like I think it'll be pretty good. Like there's only like a few comic book movies that I think will live up to the hype, and this seems like one of the few that could. It's just like the thing is, even before this whole reboot was announced, people like were very weary of how the film was going to end because supposedly the way the film was going to end was going to originally soft reboot the whole thing to begin with, but keep certain things like Gal's Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa's Aquaman.
Yeah, it is weird, but I mean, this whole thing is so stupid, especially since there's been like nothing. We got BVS, Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, right? 5 movies. There's not really a lot of actual DC EU lore, right? So then you're like, oh, we're gonna soft reboot, and like, it's been 5 movies. You've barely, the universe has barely been fleshed out, and you're soft rebooting it. What is it that you're going to change? Like, we don't even know half the stuff exists or not, right?
Yeah, the thing is, like, WB, like, they wasted a lot of time even before COVID. Like, because it was before COVID that they sat on the Henry Cavill thing. It was before COVID when Ben Affleck was basically said that he was done with the role. So, like, so a lot of this was happening even before, like, COVID and shutdown. Like, yeah, COVID and shutdown played a role in delays in DC's box office not being so stellar. But, again, a lot of this stuff they sat on back in 2018, 2019.
Yeah. It will be curious to see what happens going forward, especially with Zack Snyder basically saying, hey, I got no control over any of this. Leave me alone. I'm doing Rumble Moon. Give it up. It's over.
It's like that scene in Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's still a chance? like that's basically what a lot of these fans are saying. Because he says that would be amazing, but they forget the part where he says I have no control over it.
Yeah. So it is pretty much over, and I wonder if because Ben Affleck's like, oh, I'm done playing Batman. I'm coming back. I'm done, but I'm still done playing Batman. Now he's like, I kind of found it. I would do it again, a little bit. He's kind of hinting that he'd be willing to come back. So I'm wondering if now that Zach has, basically given up the fight, if he's basically like, all right, Ben, you can go ahead. You can go back, Ben. I don't care. I don't mind anymore.
Well, I mean, this is James Gunn's decision, like, as to who he wants to keep and who he wants to get rid of. Because he did say, like, while he respects Henry Cavill, that's not the Superman that he envisions. But he's also said, like, he's open to keeping, like, some of the other versions of these characters, like Jason Momoa's Aquaman, Zachary Levi's Shazam, and even Gal's Wonder Woman.
Yeah. But like I said, it did seem weird that Ben Affleck was willing to come back, and then all of a sudden, Zach shows back up on the scene, and then Ben Affleck's like, I'm not doing it no more. And then Zach's like, hey, I'm kind of done with this. I'm over it now. And Ben Affleck's like, well, I've really found my niche with this. And we do know that the Batman Brave and the Bold, is going to focus on Damian. So it could very well be an older Batman played by Affleck, and then an older Bruce Wayne played by Affleck with a younger Dick Grayson Batman and Damian Wayne Robin.
Well, the confusing thing about DC is, like, last year before, like, James Gunn was announced as president, like, apparently, like, he was part of the Aquaman reshoots, Ben Affleck. But, like, the thing was, like, originally Michael Keaton's Batman was supposed to appear in Aquaman instead. So, like, I don't know if, like, at some point they decided, hey, we're going to keep Ben Affleck in the DCEU. But it's like, we also don't know when Aquaman really takes place at this point, the second one. Like, DC is so confusing at this point.
It really is. Especially when you got, Flash movie still coming out. You got 2 Shazams. You don't know where they're at. Black Adam, all the Peacemaker stuff. The 2 different Suicide Squad movies. Also, that Wonder Woman cameo mentioned the other day, it was removed months ago. That was the rumor. The rumor is that it was removed, Donovan. But there's no, until the movie comes out, right? We don't really know because they're not talking. They're not saying, yeah, we removed Gal Gadot, and they're not saying they didn't either.
Well, I think the scene they're talking about was apparently there was supposed to be a scene at the end of the film that showed like I guess like the members of the Justice League that are still around. So maybe they were talking about that part because she's still getting a Funko Pop connected to the film.
Yeah, but that could have been set in motion so long ago that like they can't just be like, just don't make the Funko Pop, right?
But like apparently like Jason Momoa's Aquaman was supposed to appear at the end. He's not getting a Funko Pop. I think Henry Cavill's Superman was also supposed to appear, but he's not getting a Funko Pop. I know like that there was supposed to be like an action scene with like Wonder Woman, Batman, and Flash at the beginning of the film. So I don't know if they're getting rid of that. And the thing they got rid of with Gal was like the ending.
Yeah. And Donovan says, I heard it was removed, so I don't know where you're getting this rumor talk. I'm getting it from everyone else is getting it. Idiots online. DC is such a mess.
But again, the interesting thing is like she hasn't been in the marketing. It has been Ben Affleck's Batman that's been in the marketing.
That is true. Well, both of them, both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah. So like maybe they are keeping the action scene, but they got rid of Gal in the action scene because it looks like Ben's Batman's at least getting one action scene.
Yeah. Maybe we're gonna get just a lasso and like Wonder Woman off screen. DC's such a fucking mess. But that's that. All right, so I don't know if you know this, George, but superhero films, that's it. This is the end of it. They're done. That's at least according to the BBC, who asked the question, superhero films, is this the end of the road? And it's funny because they use a picture of Jonathan Majors.
Oh my gosh.
And this was from today, so it's not even like, right, like if this was like 2 days ago or like 3 days ago, an old article, but it's like from today. They're like, you know what? Let's put Jonathan Majors on it. That's a good idea. It says a combination of grim headlines and poor box office numbers mean that the colossal success of the superhero franchise could be a thing of the past, right? Nicholas Barber. Nicholas Barber, who wrote this article, is telling us that he wrote this article in the article I'm reading.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome. But here's the thing that I don't understand, right? Like if Star Wars fails, right? They don't start going, well, thanks to Star Wars failing, Star Trek is probably going to have no chance. And don't even think about a Doctor Who because sci-fi is done for, right? They're like, oh, well, Ant-Man flops, so that means all superhero movies just across the board, right? Don't make no sense. Like, even if Marvel is going down because of the Ant-Man, that doesn't mean that DC's doesn't have a chance or some other studio doing a superhero film.
Yeah, I feel like this is something you kind of wait until maybe later in the year. If let's say Guardians of the Galaxy bombs and the Flash bombs, because those two films look like they're being heavily marketed, and those are like the two films that people are the most hyped about this year.
And they're bigger franchises or bigger parts of the franchise anyway.
I mean, let's be real. Shazam was not marketed well.
Black Adam was never really. I don't know why they expected it to do super numbers because it really wasn't set up to be like this huge fucking juggernaut of a movie, right?
Yeah, and the Ant-Man movies, like, they've never been big box office draws. So even if the film got a better, like, critic response, it was never going to cross $1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, the first two only did, like 300 and something each? Something like that?
I think like 500... Like 500 million, I think it did.
Hold on.
I mean, I think the thing is because it made like the least amount of money out of the three. I think that's the negative. But the thing is, they always twist the narrative around because when comic movies are doing well in the box office, like No Way Home, The Batman, Doctor Strange, and the Multiverse of Madness, the story's going to be Hollywood movies are keeping the box office afloat post-COVID.
Yeah. Well, it was 500 for the first, 622 for the second, and the third one is barely hitting 470. Which I mean, it's smaller than the first two, but it's still decent. It was more expensive to make though.
The thing is, also these movies were not that well received. If the movies got better critic reviews, maybe more people would have gone to see them because the word of mouth could have been better.
What would Superman do if Ant-Man crawled up his pee hole? Nothing. Superman's skin is super strong, right? So even if Ant-Man crawled up his pee hole and then got bigger, Ant-Man would just crush himself inside Superman's pee hole because Ant-Man doesn't have any sort of like super armor or super skin or strength, right? So he would just grow big and then just crush himself, and Superman's hole would just be like have a big weird lump inside of it. But thanks for that image, 1 inch biceps. I think they do that in The Boys. That's why he's asking. But in The Boys, it was different because both those characters were just normal people, and that's why when he grows bigger, when he sneezes inside the guy, it like blows him up. All right, he goes on to say superhero films aren't looking too super. Jonathan Majors, the American actor, was arrested last weekend and since has been charged with assault. And although his representatives have declared that he is innocent, the U.S. Army has temporarily shelved the recruitment adverts in which he appeared. That puts the Disney-owned Marvel Studios in an awkward position. Majors plays Kang the Conqueror, who wasn't just a villain in the recent Ant-Man film, but is meant to be the main baddie in the next wave of Marvel blockbusters. This is not true entirely, right? Because he's not in the Guardians. He's not scheduled to like make another appearance till Loki, but then like he's not in Thunderbolts. He's not supposed to be in Captain America 4.
As far as we know, his next appearance is Kang Dynasty after Loki season 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like he's the ultimate baddie of the arc or whatever, but he's not like in every movie. Like Thanos wasn't in every movie, right?
No, he was like hinted at.
Yeah.
He would appear like in a post-credit scene or two.
Should he keep the role? And what about Ezra Miller? They were charged with a series of crimes occurring last spring and summer, but have the title role in DC's The Flash, which is due out in June. Are viewers supposed to forget about the grim headlines and pretend that everything is fine? I mean, they pretty much have forgotten. I don't think Ezra Miller really gets much play as far as like, oh my God, he's so bad. Like, that's just all gone away pretty much.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, like they haven't really been doing anything recently, and plus, like again, people are more hyped. I feel like more people are going to be hyped about Michael Keaton than Flash in the Flash's movie.
Yeah. It says obviously there are more important things to consider than box office takings regarding these allegations, and the two actors' alleged behavior has nothing to do with the films they're in or the studios that make them, but they do deepen the impression that superhero cinema is not what it was. That some kind of kryptonite is sapping the strength of the genre that once seemed unstoppable and indestructible. Yeah, again, the idea that Jonathan Majors and Ezra Miller might be lunatics has no bearing on the overall superhero genre. So like, oh man, I can never watch a superhero movie again because Ezra Miller is choke slamming women in Hawaii and Jonathan Majors, beat up his girlfriend, right? Like,
yeah, like that's not going to affect a Robert Pattinson Batman film or a Tom Holland Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
Like any of these crimes, like people are still going to go see those.
Shit, they might not even affect the Flash. If the Flash gets good at word of mouth, people are still going to watch it. Regardless.
Yeah, and like, I mean, like they keep saying like these test screenings, everything's always positive. James Gunn said it's one of the best comic book movies he ever saw, and like they're marketing the heck out of this film. Where Shazam had no marketing, the Flash has like a ton.
Yeah, it was at the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, it was at the Super Bowl. I think it was on like during I don't know if it was a college or an NBA game, but like I saw a commercial during one of the basketball games like last week.
Yeah.
And like they're promoting the toys and stuff, so they're definitely like promoting this thing.
So far, this year's two superhero releases, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Shazam: Fury of the Gods, have both underperformed at the box office and received grudging reviews, 47% and 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, respectively. Nor did this decline and fall start with them. An article published by Screen Rant on the 1st of January, was headlined. 2022 was the year superhero movies lost their box office dominance. It was the year when DC's Black Adam bombed, despite starring Hollywood's highest earner, Dwayne Johnson, and the year when Sony's Morbius became a social media joke, bombarded by mocking memes and going on to win 2 Golden Raspberry Awards. If you compare them with the year's 2 biggest hits, Top Gun Maverick and Avatar The Way of the Water, they look like scrappy derivative B-movies rather than the mighty tentpoles we have come to expect. Full stop right there. Nobody ever expected Morbius to be anything. Ever.
Yeah.
Black Adam had a little buzz because of The Rock, right?
Yeah, that was the only one that was a box office disappointment last year. All the other ones either made a lot of money even though it wasn't $1 billion, or they were like Morbius where they were kind of expected to not do well.
Yeah.
Like Thor: Love and Thunder still made around the same amount of money that I think Thor Ragnarok made. Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness almost made $1 billion. The Batman, even though it didn't make $1 billion, still made a lot of money. I like Wakanda Forever, even though it didn't make $1 billion, still made a lot of money. But they're kind of this is kind of like supporting this belief that if a movie makes $1 billion, that automatically means it's good. Not every $1 billion film is going to be good.
Yeah, it's also kind of like this weird, like, if it's a superhero movie, it's got to be like this mega huge success. You're like, not really.
I mean, they talk about Top Gun Maverick and Avatar: The Way of Water, but they also forgot that like Jurassic World Dominion made $1 billion last year, and that was a bad movie.
Yeah. So let's see what else. What went wrong? Well, to answer that question, it helps to remember what went right. Superhero films have been hits before, but they became a phenomenon in 2008 when The Dark Knight topped the annual box office chart and Iron Man was in second place. Despite that ranking, it was Iron Man that was the game changer because it launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Under the sharp eye of Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios president, the company kept introducing fresh, fun, charismatic new versions of classic Marvel Comics characters, such as Thor and Captain America. One by one, these characters crossed over into each other's films so that each individual mega-budget spectacular also functioned as an episode in an ever-growing epic. Audiences were hooked. This is a lie. Right? So, we had in the end of Iron Man was the cameo from Thunderbolt Ross, right?
Yeah.
The Thor cameo at the end of Iron Man 2 or?
No, Thor's hammer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Thor hammer was in Iron Man 2, right?
Yeah.
As far as I remember, the first like actual 2 superhero characters being in one movie probably was Avengers, right? Because in Captain America there was no one. He just at the end of that was him showing up, and I guess if you count Nick Fury as being a superhero, right?
Unless you count like Black Widow being in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
The thing is though, like they're acting like it was like the MCU that started this trend. But here's the thing: if you're going by box office, before that, it was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films and The Dark Knight that made a lot of money for superhero films. It wasn't until the first Avengers film that MCU movies were starting to make like big money worldwide.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that they're making it sound like the beginning stages of the MCU was like Captain America showing up in Iron Man, and then Thor was over there in the Hulk movie, and like Doctor Strange was like, it wasn't. It was like that didn't happen until after Avengers when they started like throwing people in movies together.
No, like phase 1, like it was basically like, you know, hinting that other characters exist, but like they didn't appear. Like Iron Man 2, you had the hammer, and also you saw Captain America's shield in Iron Man 2, so it was hinting that other characters are going to appear.
Yeah, but it wasn't full blown appearances that didn't happen till later.
Yeah.
Seeing this success, other Hollywood studios realized that they still held the rights to a handful of other characters from Marvel Comics, and that it was time to get these characters back on the screen. 20th Century Fox revived its X-Men franchise and tried to revive the Fantastic Four. Sony rebooted Spider-Man just a few years after Tobey Maguire had hung up his red and blue spandex suit Meanwhile, Warner Brothers had the rights to their characters published by Marvel's rival DC Comics, so they set about establishing their own shared universe featuring Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. Cinemas were packed with superheroes. Did they forget about what the hell's his name? Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, I mean, I know the second film didn't make as much as they wanted, but the first film still did pretty good.
Yeah. Because Sony would have already had rebooted Spider-Man just a few years after Tobey, but that was like prior to this, right? Because then they rebooted it again during this with Tom Holland.
Yeah, it's like people forget like there was a Spider-Man franchise in between Tobey's and the MCU.
Perhaps the genre was overvalued because Marvel was doing so well. Even during the gold rush years of the 2010s, there were plenty of superhero films such as Fantastic Four and Green Lantern. Anyone remember that? Lots of people, which took commercial and or critical drubbings. But in general, comic book blockbusters seem to be soaring to ever greater heights of popularity, peaking with the starburst of Marvel's Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. These films brought all the MCU's many characters together, concluded its decade-long overarching narrative, snuffed out and restored half the universe's population, and wrote out two fan favorites, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Chris Evans' Captain America. They made billions of dollars. But how could the company possibly follow them? No one at Marvel seemed to know. I still think those movies weren't that good. It's disappointed by what could have been. Bianca says I like the second one. Yes, Samuel L. Jackson was in the post credits in Iron Man, but he's not a superhero. He's a spy. It was RDJ in the Hulk. Yeah, he was in the Hulk. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was in like the end of Hulk.
Yeah,
It wasn't even a post credit scene. It was just like the end of a movie.
Yeah. I think they'll ever do a Turok movie. They might. Yeah, everyone kind of forgets that you liked Iron Man. It was good. Everyone kind of forgets that the Hulk movie actually is the start of the MCU, not Iron Man. But what are you going to do?
Well, people forget it because that was like the only film that was distributed by Universal, and it feels so different from other MCU movies. I mean, I know they're bringing back characters from that film in the upcoming Captain America film, so maybe so people may finally remember that was part of the MCU.
Yeah, but it's like Tony Stark appears at the end of the movie, right? It's like, irregardless of anything, like it's a direct, through line to the MCU.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it is a pretty good movie. So
It's an underrated movie. I don't think it gets enough appreciation, that film.
No, it doesn't. All right. Moving on. One factor is that the COVID-19 pandemic slowed momentum, closing cinemas a year after Avengers Endgame was released. And how could any made-up global threat compete with the real one? But another factor is the next MCU films, those in the so-called Phase 4, were invenerated and purposeless. The hangover after the wild party the night before, with the wrappings up the company's cosmic infinity saga, and the retirement of its most glamorous stars, the formulaic, familiar nature of the films became all too obvious. I don't think that's exactly what happened. I mean, you had a lot of lackluster characters. They started throwing stuff on Disney Plus. That hurt them. The oversaturation of the MCU itself with lesser-known characters.
Yeah, and no one, when the MCU was giving like 3 movies a year, no one was really complaining about too much MCU. It was when the shows started appearing that people were complaining.
Yeah. Black Widow was essentially one long flashback, focusing on a character who had been killed off in Avengers Endgame. The dreary Eternals proved that Chloe Zhao, fresh from her Oscar win for low-key documentary-style drama Nomadland, probably shouldn't direct effects-heavy blockbusters. See, I'm not even blaming. I hate when people blame directors, right? because really, I would put it down to the script of Eternals being shit, and not necessarily like the direction. Because you can only do so much, right?
Yeah, I mean the special effects looked fine. Like the camera work looked fine. It was more so the fact that it was just a slow story that just wasn't interesting.
Oh yeah, it was just a shit story. It was terrible. It didn't make any sense. They tried to like shoehorn them into the MCU, and then not, and then like, oh, but they're robots, but they're like humanoid robots, but one of them happens to be like a little kid, but that doesn't make any sense. But let's just go with it.
I mean, like this was like it was like the first MCU film where my mom was like when's this gonna end? Like she usually enjoys like MCU movies, but like that was like the first time I think she was like ready to get out of the theater.
Yeah. Finbar says again, wrong, Tony. Incredible Hulk sequentially takes place mostly after Iron Man 2. Howard Stern Fartman needs to be post credits appearance just to troll the fans. Yeah. Aside from the openings where they flash back to Banner's Hulk origin. Yeah, but when was it released, Finbar? When was Iron Man was released? Hold on, let's find out. It was released April 14th, in Sydney, and then May 2nd in the US, 2008.
Yeah, I was still in elementary school when that film came out because that was when I was in 5th grade. Dark Knight came out the summer that I was going into middle school.
Yeah, right. And then I think so. The Hulk is the second one, but I think it's like a month difference. Yeah, June 13th. So a month later, the Hulk comes out. So you could forgive me for not realizing two movies that were released so close together. Iron Man 2 doesn't come out till May 2010, 2 years later.
The thing is, I remember the marketing for Iron Man and Dark Knight, but forget the marketing for Incredible Hulk.
I don't even remember that. Please don't try to school me on the MCU. I won't. Let's see. Thor: Love and Thunder was an inferior rehash of Thor: Ragnarok. Oof. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever had to make do without its titular hero following the death of the man who played him, Chadwick Boseman. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, innovated by incorporating so much Chinese culture, but it still followed the template that had been used too many times. Wasn't that movie like critically acclaimed? Didn't people love that movie?
Shang-Chi? Yeah, I like Shang-Chi. I thought it was great. I know the weird thing is it was like the first MCU movie that came out in September. It was like Labor Day weekend, I think it came out. Because like it got delayed so many times, so it was like coming out at a weird time.
Yeah, so I don't understand why they're making it sound like nobody liked it or it was a bad movie or
for a lesser known character. It did pretty good in the box office, especially like as COVID was still going around. And again, it did get good reviews from audiences and critics.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy's trying to make an argument, and he's like picking and choosing these weird stances.
And I didn't get it. It says like Thor: Love and Thunder was an inferior rehash of Thor: Ragnarok, which is true, but it still made plenty of money. It's like they pick and choose what to be outraged with some of these movies.
Yeah. It says the sequel is reportedly in development, but no release date has been announced. Again, see, like they're trying to say that like this is, in development, quote unquote. Like if it's not going to happen or something, it's like, yeah, it's so far out because of all the plans that they have that's why there's no release date, right? And they just moved back a bunch of shit. The MCU had been revolutionary because up until Avengers Endgame, you had to see every film in it to fully appreciate all the others. But now you could skip them without missing anything in particular. In fact, the films felt less important than WandaVision, Loki, and the rest of the Marvel television series on Disney+. And if the most interesting superhero action is on TV, why bother paying to see its poor relation at the cinema? I wouldn't say that WandaVision and Loki were better than the movies that were at the theater.
Again, it's all based on subjective opinion. And I know they have a picture of Spider-Man, but I noticed that article didn't say anything about No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness, the two movies that made a lot of money.
Yeah. Not that this is just a Marvel problem. Every superhero franchise is now weighed down with the baggage of earlier films. So a genre that used to be about the exhilarating thrill of forward motion is no longer going anywhere fast. For the viewer, it's getting difficult to remember who is in the Avengers, who is playing the Joker, whether Wolverine is alive or dead, and whether Venom is in Sony's Spider-Man universe or the Marvel Cinematic Universe or some other universe altogether. Superhero films now seem to have more of a past than a future. They're exhausted, and so are their viewers. One issue is that the studios are simply running out of beloved characters. Now, this is true. It's true that several actors have played Spider-Man over the last 2 decades, but Iron Man and Captain America are so closely associated with Downey and Evans, the actors who made their parts their own, that it wouldn't work to recast them now. Yes, it would. If you got good enough actors, it would. So who are we left with? Marvel Studios is reaching the bottom of the barrel. With the Marvels and Thunderbolts, while Sony is planning films around such Spider-Man B-listers as Kraven the Hunter and Madam Web.
But Sony, you can't defend Sony for basically like taking whatever Spider-Man characters they can. Like that's pure nonsense. But it's like they're acting like Marvel is not going to have Fantastic Four or X-Men eventually.
Yeah, and the Thunderbolts is they're made out of villains from previous movies, right? But it's not the bottom of the barrel because it's not like it could be worse, right? You could be like the Beetle and like the Kangaroo and the Spot or something, right? They're at least characters that have been established in the MCU that people are familiar with.
Yeah, and they're not even bringing up the fact that Deadpool's coming as well, and Blade, which are two characters that audiences are familiar with.
Yeah, and the Marvels, as much as I might not like Captain Marvel, the movie, it did make a bunch of money, and this is the sequel to that. And they're just kind of being like, oh, no, it's going to be a shitty movie. It's the bottom of the barrel. The sequel to Captain Marvel. Maybe Marvel and DC Comics weren't the infinite resources they once promised to be, after all. They never were.
The thing is, this article didn't even talk about DC. It focused mainly on Marvel.
And they have so much to gripe about with DC, and they didn't. Still, we shouldn't get carried away. Last year, there were 4 superhero films in the worldwide box office top 10. 5 if you include Minions, The Rise of Gru. Spider-Man No Way Home was the highest-grossing film of 2021. And I, for one, am looking forward to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in June. Beyond that, James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, has been given the job of relaunching DC superheroes with new actors and a new approach. The genre could still make a triumphant comeback as the characters in its stories so often do. But will it ever again engender the excitement those first Marvel films did? That really would be a superhuman feat. Believe it or not, the term superhero fatigue was already being bandied around 2011. And 2023 cinema goers everywhere know how it feels. Now, this person obviously doesn't know anything about comic books because, like you said, the X-Men and Fantastic Four are still out there. They're still in play. So there's plenty to get excited about as far as MCU goes.
Yeah, it's like I get it. Some of these movies haven't been doing so well, but it's like that's more so like a studio issue. And the thing is like, yeah, general audiences want better than mid-tier superhero films, so they're gonna pick and choose what they want to go see.
Finbar says there's a 10-hour supercut of Phase 1 MCU floating around out there. It puts everything in order and splices all the movies through each other. It's worth a look if you got a day free. Yeah, I mean, if you got a link. I'm not looking for it, but if you got a link. I don't think superhero films are done, especially since superhero films, there's so many subgenres, right? You got the Guardians coming out soon. The Marvels, they're going to be all right.
Yeah, I think as long as you give good superhero movies, people are going to still go see them. Because the thing is like Black Adam, the one film and Morbius, the two films that didn't do so well last year, they got mixed to negative response. Like they didn't get a good word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with like Ant-Man and Shazam 2. And I like Shazam 2, but it didn't get a good word of mouth and it wasn't marketed well.
Also, it was probably not that good a movie.
I mean, you look at like a film like that they brought up that was the highest grossing film of 2021, Spider-Man No Way Home. The movie was heavily marketed. It got good reviews from critics. Audiences loved it. And it's Spider-Man, so of course it was going to make a ton of money.
It'll be good. It'll be good. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about superhero fatigue. We got the rights coming back for the Hulk, so there's going to be a Hulk movie coming out soon. We got Daredevil showing back up and Born Again. I think there's going to be a renaissance. And don't forget, we still have Secret Wars coming up, and all the actors from previous movies are supposedly going to show up in that. But going from superhero fatigue to talking about the greatest actor of his generation. Any idea who that might be, George?
What generation are we talking about?
I don't know. I guess like 40 to 50-year-olds.
Trying to think. I can't think of any that made that claim.
Well, they're not making a claim. The Telegraph is. They're saying, no joke, Adam Sandler may be the greatest actor of his generation.
Oh, this should be interesting.
And we would read it, but apparently when I clicked on it the first time, I could read it, but then the second time I can't because now they want me to buy a 3-month subscription to the Telegraph.
Wow. Well, I mean, with Adam Sandler, like I know he's been in a lot of comedies, whether they were good or bad. I know in Uncut Gems, like he got a lot of praise, and he was actually really good in that movie. That I actually saw that movie in theaters, and I thought it was a really good movie.
I mean, he is a decent actor. I'll give him that. But to say he's the greatest of his generation, it's tall order, tall order.
Yeah, like I mean, he's like in his 50s. Like there's a lot of actors in their 50s that people can make the case are better than him.
All right, we're gonna read the article because I have an archive of it. So screw you, Telegraph. Trying to make me pay. The man who made his name and his fortune with the crowd-pleasing, critically loathed comedies is on every director's wish list. Here's why. Please don't take this the wrong way, I told Todd Field, the esteemed director of Tar, when interviewing him late last year, but it sort of reminded me of an Adam Sandler film. In the next week, that Sandler's less than wonderful Murder Mystery 2 lands on Netflix, it's worth clarifying that this is a very good thing. Field's eerie psychodrama about a great conductor going off the rails might be a multi-Oscar nominated critical darling, but it also contains the following scenes. Blanchett verbally lambasting a terrified 7-year-old child in the playground. Blanchett and Mark Strong both dressed in formal orchestral attire, having a punch-up on the stage of the Dresden Kurplast in front of a sellout crowd. Blanchett trying to thwart the sale of her neighbor's flat by loudly singing out of tune while accompanying herself on the accordion. Swap Sandler into any of these scenes, all of which fizz with manic, brink of the breakdown, comic energy, and he'd be right at home. Anyway, the line was meant as a compliment, and Field took it as such. It's only film critics that have a problem with Sandler, he said with a grin. We filmmakers all recognize he's the best there is. He then went on to explain the pair had been friends for decades. Well, I mean, that kind of nullifies his previous statement, doesn't it?
I mean, like when it comes to Adam Sandler, like the projects that he picks are very iffy. Like it's not that he's a bad actor. It could be the fact that he just picks bad projects.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the guy's like, hey, Adam Sandler's super awesome, greatest actor ever. We've also been really good friends. I'm like, yeah, well,
Well, so in that case, like, yeah, you're gonna have a bias for your friend.
he went on to explain the pair had been friends for decades and had, in fact, been recently batting around ideas for a feature on WhatsApp. If we needed one more reason to praise Field's recent claim that Tar might be his last film turns out to be false, well, there it is. On this subject, Field is by no means an outlier. Actors and directors can't seem to speak highly enough about the guy. While presenting Sandler with the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor last weekend, Chris Rock described the Academy as fucking assholes for never having nominated his former Saturday Night Live co-star for an Oscar, adding, if they don't want to give my man his props, we will tonight. Well, I mean, it's not just the Academy. It's not like I hate when they do this shit, right? Because they make it sound like the Academy decides who to nominate when it's really like you have to submit the film for consideration, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to like really like here's a gold watch for doing such a good job, Academy voter. I hope you enjoy this nice trip to the Bahamas where you can clear your mind and think about who you're voting for. And Adam Sandler, like, have his movies really been like, we're like, yeah, let's send him in for fucking best actor or whatever, right?
I mean, the only film that he probably should have gotten a nomination for was Uncut Gems, but anything else doesn't really scream like something the Academy would even look at.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta remember, like a decade ago, he was like doing movies like Grown Ups, Jack and Jill. I forget what the title of that movie was where he played like Andy Samberg's dad. Like he did a sequel to Grown Ups. He just was not in a lot of good things like a decade.
What are you talking about? You just said that he was in Jack and Jill. That's
Jack.
I love that movie. It's fantastic. Fantastic. When he gets any movie that gets Al Pacino to sing Dunka 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 while dancing, holding a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, top tier. Sandler feeds his friends. He does, and his wife. She's always in his movies. He also always includes that his character has a little dick for some reason. I always wondered about that.
He's got a fascination with it.
Like, is it like a humiliation fetish? And he's like, yeah, I want people to say that I got a little dick. Or is he like trying to like be like, it's okay, guys, to have little dicks? Because look at me.
I never got that about that with him in his films.
Have you seen what was it? Anger Management? He has a small dick.
Oh, I remember. I remember that one. We watched in I watched it in high school. It was like during AP testing, and that film was hilarious.
Click. He has a little dick.
I don't think I saw Click. I've seen some of the other ones.
When he's going through the remote control controls his life, and he pushes the button and it takes him back to his birth. And when he's born, they're like, "Oh, look, it's a girl," and they're like, "No, it's not. That's a boy." Like, what? No, it's a girl. Like, no, that little thing, that little schmeckle. And he's like, it's not that little. And he's getting laughed at by the guy. What the hell's his name? More Cowbell. Then I think there's a couple other movies where like it's the same thing, like where like his character supposedly has a small dick.
Like I know he has this tendency in his films to also have like that scratchy voice where it's like, I'm Adam Sandler and I'm gonna talk like this. Like I feel like that's a common thing in Adam Sandler movies, or at least like some of his worst comedies.
He wrote Bucky Larson too, right?
Wait, which film did he write?
Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star.
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, it says written by Adam Sandler. And the whole premise of that movie is that Bucky Larson has a tiny, tiny wiener, but he becomes a porno star.
Yeah, wasn't he also? I think he was also in Pixels.
Bragging on that little dick, that little green dick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I remember that movie.
Dicks.
I remember that movie Pixel. I think he was in it. Like that movie got crapped on.
Oh, that's a terrible movie.
I never saw it, but like I heard like awful things about it.
It's terrible. But either way, Jack and Jill, great movie. Highly recommend it. Let's see. And when I interviewed Noah Baumbach last year, he described Sandler as a wonderful actor and great collaborator. who's been instrumental in kindling the spiky ensemble chemistry in his 2017 film, The Merrickowitz Stories. I'd love to have a part for him in every movie I make, he added. Then there's Salma Hayek, who rhapsodied to me in 2015 about the experience of making the grown-up films, in which she played Sandler's wife. They might not have been great art, she conceded, but few professional engagements could beat the convivial atmosphere and family-friendly hours of a Sandler set. It just sounds like he's really generous with his money and pays people well, and like so people like him.
It just sounds like that he's a good person to work with, like a nice person to work with, that it's not a toxic environment. But again, that doesn't mean like the movies are gonna be good. Like the way like the title makes it seem like is that he's great in every role and that he's always in good movies.
I would say that not to cut you off, but I would say that if he was the greatest actor of his generation, then the movies should be elevated by his acting, right? Like the movie, be like, oh, this was a kind of an okay movie, but Sandler made it, so now the movie's good.
Oh, what sounds?
And we lost George.
Oh, I'm still here. Sorry, I was like plugging my charger in. But from what it sounds like, it's like Adam Sandler promotes a good work environment and that he's a nice guy to work with. That's the vibe that I'm getting with, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's also popular enough with audiences for him to have been one of the earliest linchpins of Netflix's entire filmmaking operation. After his relationship with Sony was very publicly cooled in 2014, much internal and agonizing over low quality of his production company's output came to light when the studio's email system was hacked. He signed a $250 million contract to make 4 new comedies for the streaming service. And while none of those comedies could be described as a critical darling, their Rotten Tomatoes scores range between 27 and 0%. They evidently played well enough with the subscribers for a deal to be extended by another 4 films in early 2020, swelling his net worth to a reported $480 million. That same week, cinephiles were going wild for his extraordinary collaboration with Josh and Benny Safdie, the arrhythmia-inducing masterpiece Uncut Gems. I still haven't seen it. I've seen clips of it. I haven't seen Uncut Gems.
I liked it. It was one of the few movies that I saw in theaters that I probably didn't need to see in theaters.
Man, this thing just keeps going on and on. And we're not going to read the rest of it.
I mean, I heard he was good in Hustle, but I never saw Hustle.
I do like his comedies. I think he's funny. I think maybe was it 8 Crazy Nights probably should have got nominated for something. Oh shit!
Wow. How you doing, guys?
What's up, Mr. Pacino? Mr. Dunkachino?
Yeah, not much. Well, you know, I gotta tell you, Anthony, I'm not doing too good. I don't know if you remember when we last talked. I told you I was auditioning for a part in one of those Marvel pictures. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. You said you were up for a role in one of the newer movies. What was that?
Yeah, well, I didn't get the part. They ended up casting a black guy. Can you fucking believe that? Goddamn Hollywood, going all woke on me.
I do believe, if I remember correctly, the character was originally black, wasn't it?
Yeah, you might be right. But I think it was a part of Blade, yeah. But forget about that. Wait till you hear this one. Way before that audition, I managed to get an audition for the part of Mario in that new Super Mario movie. Yeah, that's right. All you no culture, uneducated fucks out there. I said Mario, not fucking Mario. But anyway, I lost out on that part too. They gave it to some non-Italian prick. Can you fucking believe that? That asshole probably never even set foot in Italy before. Goddamn Hollywood going all racist on me. Can't even get a part in any picture these days. World's greatest living actor, and they got me out here auditioning like a goddamn chump. And as you fellas know, since you've been talking about it, I take any part. I mean, I agreed to appear in Jack and Jill for Christ's sake. And as long as they do the same as what they did when they offered me that part and back a dump truck full of cash up to my house, I'll be fucking in, I can assure you of that. Anyway, forget about all that. I got an inside Hollywood scoop for you guys. You want to hear it?
Yeah. I'm up for this one.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm here. That's what I'm here for. So get this: Paramount Pictures are gonna reboot The Godfather, but they ain't gonna recast anybody. They're gonna CGI and deepfake Brando, Khan, Ghazali, and all the other dead guys. And then they said they were gonna digitally de-age the rest of us. But that was until I told them they probably get a better performance out of a CGI Brando than if he was still alive. And then that gave them the idea to CGI me too. Can you fucking believe that?
I can't.
I told those cocksuckers to go fuck themselves. I said I didn't give them permission to use my likeness. But they said they didn't care. And they just go ahead and use the character model from the Godfather game on a PlayStation 2. And one of those wise guys even said that the PlayStation 2 model looked better than I did in real life. The nerve of that goddamn son of a bitch.
Well, you did look a little rough at the VGAs last year. You looked like you were
I've aged
confused.
gracefully, Anthony. Come on. Can't believe you'd say that about me. But don't worry about that guy, because I'm going to have him whacked. Goddamn Hollywood, full of punk kids and SJWs. Anyway, I should get going, guys. I got to take my meds and have my nap. I'll catch you all later.
We'll speak later.
Okay.
Well, then.
Wow.
That was an unexpected guest appearance from Mr. Pacino himself. What the fuck? That was Batman? Could be.
Thought he was going to announce they're doing a Godfather 4.
Oh, God, please no.
I don't need any more Godfather films.
Yeah, no more.
I love the first two, but part 3 was a chore to get through.
It was horrible. They should have never made it. Just when I thought it was out, they pulled me back in.
But it's like, the daughter in that film, her acting was just cringe.
Indeed, it was. But from the world's greatest living actor, Mr. Al Pacino, to Robert Downey Jr.'s gum. The New York Post is letting us know that you could be the proud owner of Robert Downey Jr.'s chewed gum for the low, low price of $40,000. You want to get a GoFundMe going for this, George?
For the gum?
Yeah, RDJ's gum.
I don't know if a GoFundMe is worth gum. What's so good about it?
Well, RDJ, as you can see, Jon Favreau, he got his star on the Walk of Fame, and so RDJ, being the goofball, the lovable scamp that he is, took out some gum and stuck it right on the star, saying, "There you go, now you've made it." It's just like a real Hollywood star. And then somebody said, "Hey, that's Robert Downey Jr.'s gum. Let me snatch that up and throw that bad boy on eBay for $40,000." The eBay listing sets the starting bid for the gum at $40,147.47. So, I mean, you can have a... Oh, shit. It's all the way up to $55,000 now. Starting bid. The guy figured out what it was worth.
Wow. He's usually trying to become Tony Stark in real life.
Oh, wait. It says that's Canadian money. So it's about $40,000. Never mind. I'm guessing this guy's from Canada. But yeah, you could clone Robert Downey Jr. He's got it perfectly preserved in a piece of plastic. No certificate of authenticity. You have to just believe him that it is the RDJ gum. So there it is. There he is, holding it up. There it is. Perfectly preserved. It's funny. We make jokes about things like this, but there's probably some idiot that'll pay for that. Maybe not $40,000, but I bet you this guy gets a couple $100 for that gum. Wonder what brand it is. There's still flavor. He only chewed it 4 times.
You know, some sucker's gonna buy it. There's a lot of like dumb people that'll be like, "Oh, gum from Robert Downey Jr. I gotta buy it."
I bought an empty Amico shell for 2,000, so
Oof.
I'm not really one to talk about buying stupid things, right?
But did you spend $40K on it?
No, but I spent $2K.
Oof.
So there's that. All right, moving on. Are you familiar with the Scott Pilgrim franchise?
Oh yeah, I love the 2010 film.
I hate that film. I think it's a piece of trash. But it's getting a new Netflix anime series. The entire cast is reuniting. So Brandon Ruth, Scott Evans, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and that was his name.
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera. Yeah, there you go. The full cast of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World are reuniting for a new Netflix anime series. Edgar Wright, who wrote and directed the 2010 film, will executive produce the series, which is being written and showrun by Brian Lee O'Malley, who created the original Scott Pilgrim graphic novel series, and Ben David Grabinski from Are You Afraid of the Dark? The cast includes Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim and Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers, along with Jason Schwartzman, Kieran Culkin, Ellen Wong, Mae Whitman, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson, Aubrey Plaza, Ellison Pill, Seitha Bahaba, Brandon Ruth, Johnny Simmons, and Mark Webber. We can't wait for fans and newcomers alike to see what we and our partners at Science Saru have been cooking up. O'Malley and Grabinski said in a statement, "It's going to be a wild ride." Edgar Wright hints that this will be much more than just anime adaptation of the original graphic novel. Original creator Brian Lee O'Malley, along with writer Ben David Grabinski, have conjured up an anime series of Scott Pilgrim that doesn't just expand the universe, but also, well, just watch it. I'm more than happy to announce that I have helped coax the entire original cast back to voice their characters on this epic new adventure. You are all in for a treat. I think it would work better as an animated film. There was certain parts of the live action film that I wasn't feeling it.
Well, isn't it based off a manga? Like, isn't Scott Pilgrim like a manga like comic?
No, it's just like a little graphic novel. It's like a regular comic.
Oh, okay. Because I never read the comic. I've always wanted to, but I never got a chance to read it.
Yeah, I think he's much more of a asshole in the comic. He's less likable.
So maybe like they're gonna base it around the comic this time.
Yeah, but I think because they said they're gonna expand it. It's not just gonna be an adaptation. So there's probably gonna be more character developments for some of the side characters.
I mean that makes sense. I did like the side characters in the film. I don't know what they're like in the comics though. So like that's me admitting that I love the film, but I haven't read the comics.
Yeah. From my understanding, they're more or less the same. Like I said, there's just certain things. Like, is it happening? Is it supposed to be a representation of his thoughts? Like, it's not really like it's almost like an inner monologue. He's not really fighting them. But there's things in the movie that go, well, there's people reacting to the fight, so obviously the fight happened. But then also, this is weird that he's having these fights.
Yeah, and like people are like okay with it. It's like, okay, that person just like turned into coins. They're dead. But yet, okay, moving along.
Also, it's kind of weird because like the first fight happens, it's like epic and like this big, long, drawn out thing. And then it's like, oh, that guy just skateboards and he's dead.
Well, kind of like, I know you never saw like the John Wick movies, but like for some reason, like there's always just like these fights like outside that's happening, and people are just like okay with it. It's like they're kind of used to it.
56K says it's an American comic. It was the go-to read for newcomers. I hope it's stylized, not just typical anime art direction. Yeah. Like I said, I've seen the drawing. They look fine, the comics. They're probably going to be done in that style. They say anime, but realistically, it's going to be an American company probably doing it. It's like the Netflix quote unquote anime.
I mean, I am curious about this. I am interested, but it feels like this kind of sounds like a desperation move from Netflix.
It does. It's like out of nowhere, like out of left field. The craze for Scott Pilgrim's kind of died down.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, as someone that loved the 2010 film, I definitely would want to see it, especially if you get the original cast back, even in animated form. But it kind of just like came out of like left field. The news, like no one was expecting it.
Yeah. When asked on Twitter whether Anna Maguchi would be back to do the soundtrack, Reddit replied, "You will be very happy. That person has now confirmed they did the score alongside some original songs and have been working on it for a year. Not much more we can say about it for now, but how about that cast? I think this might be good, everybody." Again, I really like. There's a lot of scenes in it. It's like, look, we referenced a video game. Look. See this reference? Look at the reference. Guys, reference. And it's like, oh my God, calm down. And everybody in my generation, like they all go gaga over the movie. Like, oh my God, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is so fucking great. And I'm just like, not really. Maybe I'm just crotchety. No word on when the Scott Pilgrim anime series will hit Netflix, but you can watch a teaser below. Ooh, there's a teaser. Can I make it bigger? No. Do you think this is going to be a teaser where they show nothing other than these people's names?
I saw the teaser already, so I know what's gonna happen. Like I saw this before. All it's just doing it's just like reassuring fans that like the same people are coming back.
Wow, fantastic. So yeah, so that's a thing. And I'm not very excited. George is excited. He's that long pause. It's a no.
No, like I am excited. I'm not like overly excited. Like with the main cast coming back, like I am curious to see like how they expand on this. But the thing is, it's like I feel like Netflix is kind of just doing this because they need something. They cancel a lot of shows. They really don't have that much animated wise that stands out. So I think they're hoping that this could like help them.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't really heard anybody really talking about it, but we'll see in the upcoming weeks. Reddit, I know they always love Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
And look, like even though I love the Scott Pilgrim film, and I know a lot of people also love it, it wasn't a big box office success. That's why they never made more of it.
56 says, not even the teaser is remotely Scott Pilgrimish. No hope already.
And like they don't really give a release date on when this thing's coming out, so we don't even know when it's coming out.
Well, the guy said, or the music person said that they were working on it for over a year already, so should be done.
And
soon.
also, like we haven't yet to see like how they look animated, these characters.
How many episodes, if it's a movie or an animated series. Because it just says the anime, right? It doesn't really say like if it was a series or a movie.
Yeah, like they just say, hey, this thing's gonna happen, but they don't really say like how it's gonna go and stuff like that.
We'll see. We'll definitely check it out and review it for the channel and give our thoughts. But moving right along, we got a little Batman news because Michael Flanagan pitches pick on Clayface to Warner Brothers DC. Exclusive. Dr. Sleep filmmaker Mike Flanagan has pitched a feature version of Clayface over at the studio, several sources tell Deadline. However, no word on greenlight yet, and the studio has not said no. There are no offers and no deals, though typically a DC supervillain in the Flanagan pick, should it move forward, he wouldn't be a bad guy, so we hear. Word is that Flanagan and his Intrepid Pictures partner Trevor Macy had a meeting with DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran. Flanagan, we understand, wasn't pitching the character to be part of Matt Reeves' DC Elseworld, the Batman 2 set for October 3rd, 2025 release date. That said, other sources are telling us that scripts are constantly changing and that Clayface is a big addition to Matt Reeves' The Batman 2. Let's wait until the dust settles here and something moves forward. It remains to be seen whether Clayface is a connection to the Batman 2 Elseworld and Gunn and Safran's feature and series sprawling DC Gods and Monsters Chapter 1. But Clayface got his DC introduction as part of Detective Comics number 40 in June 1940. While there would eventually be a number of shape-shifting DC antagonists using the alias, the original Clayface was a moderately successful actor who adopted the identity of a character he portrayed in a horror pick after turning to crime. He's a frequent adversary of Batman with a body seemingly made out of clay, who's appeared over the years in numerous films, television series, animated works, video games, and other forms of media, being portrayed on the series Gotham and Pennyworth by Brian McMahon and Lauren Burrows, respectively. He's been in films, Clayface?
I don't think so. I think this would be like his first film appearance.
Because it's appeared over the years in numerous films. Maybe animated films? He might have been in one? Two?
Maybe animated stuff. I don't really watch a lot of DC animated stuff or films. Like I've seen like the animated shows. But I don't think he's ever played a significant role.
No, not to my knowledge. The rationale behind Clayface's appearance emerged in comics of the 70s, which evolved the character into a scientist with hormone irregularities. Uh-oh. I smell wokeness. I smell a trans character who's trying to use a brand new procedure to change their gender. And they've turned into Clayface. And now they can shapeshift into anything that they imagine. Be any gender they want. Do you feel it, George?
Ryan Kinnell's gonna probably go on another rant about this.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. Flanagan has been very vocal in the past about his interest in making a Clayface film, stating in one 2021 tweet that he'd approach it as a, quote, standalone horror thriller tragedy. He also noted that he's long wanted to put his stamp on Superman, though DC chief James Gunn is currently gearing up to do that himself, directing Superman Legacy from his own script as the first film in the inaugural phase of his new DC. Flanagan revealed in a recent installment of the Script Apart podcast that he expressed interest in a horror-leaning take on the character during a recent general meeting with veteran DC producer John Berg, also pitching takes on such characters and properties as Scarecrow, Justice League Dark, and Constantine. The filmmaker added at the time of the meeting, kind of went nowhere. So this all sounds like just like typical Hollywood fluff piece. Like, yeah, some guy went to DC with some ideas, and because the guy's sort of noteworthy, we're going to kind of write an article about it.
Villains don't need their own movies.
That's what
Clayface isn't that big enough of a villain to even get his own movie.
Yeah. I mean, I like the character in the Batman, the animated series, the arc that they had for him. But he's really not. He's not an anti-hero. He's not. There's no way to spin it. And unless they spin it, like I said, like, oh, it's an experimental drug that lets you change your gender. And now I'm fucking Clayface. And I'm getting revenge on the doctors who have, made me this way. It's probably the only way he could spin it, as like sort of not a villain. But other than that, he's just a dude that like does crime and kills people and shit, right?
Yeah, like again, this is just. I mean, I get it. Joker was significant, but like Warner Brothers, like with James Gunn in charge, this isn't going to be like Sony where they give every Spider-Man villain a movie. Like James Gunn's gonna, I think, actually be smart about what projects get greenlit.
Yeah, not like the old bosses that were just greenlighting like a Wonder Twins movie and
Yeah, like the thing was they were just the old regime was basically just throwing darts at the wall and seeing which one would stay on. That's not going to happen. Like they have a coherent plan. They want to stick with that plan. And I get it. They're still going to do like the sequel to Joker. They're still going to do films in the Batman universe. The thing is, like, if this was to happen in Matt Reeves' Batman universe, it would most likely be like a spin-off show on HBO Max, not even a film.
yeah, I could see him being part of like a TV series, maybe part of the Penguin thing, right? But not a standalone, his own thing. Even the Penguin, I'm kind of like, does he really need a whole series?
Yeah, I mean the Penguin series. I am looking forward to that because Colin Farrell did do a very good job, and he has played a significant role. But again, Penguin's a bigger character than Clayface in the Batman lore.
Yeah, I mean, I did like Colin Farrell. He was pretty much unrecognizable in the Batman. He did a great job. But again, there's really not much meat on the bones. It's like he was working for the mafia guys. Now he's the only one left. Let's make a whole series about how he climbs the rank. And like, I don't need to know that. You could just tell me, like, in the next Batman, like, oh, fucking the Penguin's in charge now, right? Boom. Done. All
Mike
right,
Flanagan. I'm trying to think what I know he's directed something that I've seen.
let's see. Best known for The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, and Midnight Mass. He did The Shining follow-up, Doctor Sleep.
That was the one, Doctor Sleep. I thought that was a pretty good film,
I haven't seen that.
but I don't think I've seen any of his other stuff. I haven't seen any of his other stuff. I think Doctor Sleep was the only one that I saw. But I never really heard about any of these other ones that he did.
I've heard of them. I've never seen them, though. I'm not really big into horror.
It kind of depends with me when it comes to horror. Like, I usually focus more so on the slasher genre. But, like, if it's, like, really good, like The Conjuring or The Shining, I'll check it out.
All right. We got one more article here, and this one's kind of a doozy. Jennifer Aniston says a whole generation of kids finds Friends offensive. You have to be very careful with comedy now.
It's crazy because, like, a lot of people around my age and younger love Friends. And personally, I've never really been on the Friends train.
I've never been on it either. I hated
Like,
it when it came out, and I still don't like it.
I don't hate it, but like it was never my cup of tea growing up.
All right. So she says now it's a little tricky because you have to be very careful, which makes it really hard for comedians because the beauty of comedy is that we make fun of ourselves, make fun of life. In the past, you could joke about a bigot and have a laugh. That was hysterical. And it was about educating people how ridiculous people were. And now we're not allowed to do that. There's a whole generation of people, kids, who are now going back to episodes of Friends and find them offensive. And there were things that were never intentional and others, well, we should have thought it through, but I don't think there was a sensitivity like there is now. Aniston concluded, everybody needs funny. The world needs humor. We can't take ourselves too seriously, especially in the United States. Everyone is far too divided. She's getting canceled. That's it. Friends has been called out in recent years for its lack of diversity. Cast member Lisa Kudrow once made headlines for saying if the show ever returned or got rebooted, it would not be an all-white cast.
No, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would make sense. But honestly, like people don't want to see remakes of shows they love, whether it's an all white or a diverse cast.
Yeah, but it's funny because Lisa Kudrow also said that the Friends creators David Crane and Marta Kaufman had no business telling stories about people of color given their own backgrounds. See, this is where I'm like, oh my god! It's like, oh, well, the cast has to be diverse, right? Okay, so we're gonna add black characters to the cast. Oh, but you're white people who wrote the show, so now we have to hire black writers because they only the black writers can write the black characters. It's like, oh, now the show has ballooned in price, so now we're not going to make it anymore, right?
It's so stupid.
Seinfeld's much better. Yeah, it was.
Yes, definitely.
I didn't appreciate Frasier when it first came out because I was kind of a teenager and I was like, this is stupid. I don't want to watch this show about this stuffy guy. But then when I got older, I was like, oh my god, Frasier's so fucking good. It's like one of my favorite shows. I've literally watched the entire series and then just started it over again and just watched it again because I do love Frasier. Everything in the past is offensive. Everything from the before times is going to have language or behavior that people of the current times are not going to be okay with. And I think we have to understand that. We have to understand that the things we say now are going to be offensive to people in 50 years. So we should probably cut the people 50 years ago some slack for the things they said, right?
The thing is, this is what people need to understand. Older stuff are not going to be diverse, like older movies and stuff. Older movies or older shows. That doesn't mean though it's bad. Like there's a lot of things that are old that aren't diverse that I still enjoy. And there were things that were diverse, like from many years ago, that I enjoy. As long as you have good content, that's all I care about.
Yeah. 56K says he's canceling 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, and 99. Those years going to pay for what was the norm back then? Yeah, exactly. Finbar wants to cancel 1914 to 1918 and 1939 to 1945. They were pretty sus years. Yeah, I don't think we should cancel anything.
Aaron, you sound like a Snyder fan by canceling humor.
Yeah, cancel humor. No. I think what Jennifer Aniston is saying is correct. People are way too sensitive. Comedy is supposed to be funny. Comedy is supposed to be, an examination of the absurd sometimes, right? You say things that are outrageous, and you're laughing at the outrageousness of the thing and not at the person, right?
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, this is a problem that I kind of see with the younger generation. As someone who's young themselves, is that people are classifying like if something's diverse, that automatically means it's good. That's not the case. That's not how you should critique stuff. That's no different from the Phantom Menace saying something's bad because it's woke.
Woke is bad, so I agree with them.
But I'm just saying, like people are saying, like if it's diverse, that means it's good. Like that should not be the critique for a film or a show. If it's good, it's good. And besides, everyone's opinion is different. Like we both agree that Friends is overrated.
Yes.
Like not everyone's going to agree with our opinion. So again, it's all about opinion. But if you're going to judge your opinion based off the lack of diversity, then you really don't understand how entertainment goes.
Yeah, and like you said, just because it's diverse doesn't mean it's good, interesting, as a story that makes sense, right? And just because it's not diverse doesn't mean it's bad and offensive. I mean, look at Nope, right? People say that Nope's a really good movie, right? It's pretty lacking in the diversity area. Black Panther, not very diverse, right? Unless diverse means not white people and then not actually being, a multi cultural mixture, right?
Bianca, it's been brought up again today. That's why we're talking about it, because it was like brought up again.
Yeah, this article is literally from yesterday, March 29th.
No, I think the comments that one of the actresses brought about the lack of diversity, that was like a couple years ago. But Jennifer Aniston saying like
Today.
this new generation of kids finding it offensive, that's recent.
Yeah, Lisa Kudrow was the one who said it before. Now Jennifer Aniston's like, hey, y'all need to stop being so sensitive. At the same time, I almost feel like she probably gets some royalties from the show, so it's in her best interest to be like, hey, stop trying to cancel the show. Just watch it. Well, it's good. It's good. It's a good show. Watch my show. Watch this show that's gonna get me money. All right. Well, that's all we got for tonight. It's a pretty easy show. Pretty simple. Thank you for coming and saving me, George.
Anytime.
Where can we find you? What you got coming up?
I still haven't figured it out. I do know in a couple weeks the Super Mario movie comes out, so I know I'll be reviewing that. This weekend, I am taking a break from going to the movie theaters, so I'm trying to figure out what old movie I want to review, what review series I want to begin. The following weekend, I'm going to be taking off. I'm going to be in Philly, so I'm not going to be doing any videos. But until then, you can find me at the George.
You're going to be in Philly.
Yes.
For any particular reason?
Visiting family.
Okay. So how come you're not going to, you're in Philly. You obviously have a phone. Why aren't you going to be, taking some videos, doing some, like, hey, look at me, I'm in Philly.
I don't know what I'm doing there yet.
Oh, you don't know her name? When you get there, you're going to figure out which chicks you're going to do.
Oh my god. Oh man.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's an opportunity when you
maybe I'll run into some old chicks from my past. I mean, I am from Pennsylvania, so.
Well, there you go. Where's the Rocky movie set?
In Philly.
Well, there you go. Why don't you run up the steps? Like, look at me.
I did that last summer, actually.
Well, get it on camera. You can be like, look at me. I'm fucking Rocky. They got the statue there?
Not up the stairs, but it's by there.
Well, there you go. You can take pictures by the statue. You can talk. You can do a Rocky review by the statue. You can go to the ECW arena. Come on, George. Look, I'm giving you all kind of ideas. Don't waste an opportunity. If you got a YouTube channel and you're going to be out on vacation or Philly, you might as well take some video. I mean, when I go, I'm supposed to be going to too many games. I'm going to be filming all kind of shit there.
Oh, nice.
So, subscribe to the George. There are many other Georges, but he is the George. He's awesome. As for me, obviously tomorrow we're going to be watching some horror, not fan films, but I guess small, little independent films. Hopefully they're really bad, so we have a good time making fun of them. But before then, at about 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, I will be on Nerdette's newsstand, entering the Thunderdome. 2 people enter, 1 person leaves, as we discuss wokeness and why it is terrible, why it is destroying the fabric of American society. And, so it's going to be a great time. Hopefully Nerdette is prepared. She's done her homework because I went easy on her last time. But this time, she's going down. She's going down. It's going to be a bloody carcass. When the dust has settled, myself, EVS, Jeremy Griggs, Young Ripa, they're going to be holding me above their head, thanking me for destroying their debt once and for all. So look forward to that. With that said, as always, love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.